Welcome to Life in Alignment, the podcast for men looking to balance career ambition with personal fulfillment. Hosted by Naphtali Anderson, certified executive coach, trainer, and speaker. With a background in engineering and a passion for the arts, Naphtali has successfully navigated the corporate world since 2006, having led multiple teams and leadership programs. In each episode, we dive deep into the challenges and triumphs of finding meaning and happiness while navigating the fast-paced corporate world, all geared towards overcoming the challenges you face as a man. We explore confidence, leadership, and emotional mastery, providing actionable insights and real-life examples to help you thrive. If you've wanted alignment in your life, this is your podcast. Join us as we uncover the secrets to achieving inner peace, strong relationships, and authentic self-expression. Here's your host, Naphtali Anderson.
January 11th, 2023. I told my wife that I wanted a divorce. What a way to start a show, huh? Well, yeah, I told her that I wanted a divorce, and then I bawled my eyes out. We were 11 and a half years into our marriage, and honestly, I just had enough. I was tired. I was frustrated. I was hurting. I was hurting a lot. And I bawled my eyes out for like 2 days. And the crazy part is it wasn't because I was sad about my decision. It was actually a release. It was a release of all the pain that I was holding in. But how did we get to this point? How did it all come down to after a decade of marriage and 2 kids that we reach here? Sadly, things weren't all that good for most of our marriage. Sure, we had some good moments, but it felt like very few and far in between for me. But this is what happens when 2 insecure, broken people come together. I had a little confidence, but I was the fixer. I fixed things. I fixed situations. I fixed mindsets. My whole identity came from fixing problems. That's what I was good at. That's why I was valuable. That's why I was loved. But honestly, I barely let people pass that wall that I kept around my heart. There was one person that got in, but honestly, she broke it. Right? She broke my heart at that point. But this girl that became my wife didn't really have much of a battle against my wall. So I took that as a sign. I figured, this is someone that I have to keep because this may be my only chance at love. And she grew up, very different from me. She had a family that was pretty protective, yet she ended up in a relationship that left her scarred emotionally and made to feel worthless over and over and over again. Things were okay when we dated. Not perfect, but I mean, what relationship is, especially when you're dating. But everything really just went downhill after our honeymoon. She let the fear set in and got on the full defensive mode. And from that place, there was a lot of disrespectful things done. And there was a lot of extremely hurtful things said. But being the problem solver, right? The nice guy, I figured if I just love her better, she will see that I don't want to hurt her. And then she'll stop and it'll all be good. And I tried. I honestly tried. I tried everything that I could think of to prove that to her. But it was never enough. So what did I do next? I buried myself. I shifted and molded myself into an identity in the house that I thought would keep the most peace. Walking on eggshells most of the time. And for a while, I honestly felt like things just may be better if I just wasn't around anymore. If I just didn't exist. Maybe then everybody would just be happier. And on that point, I want to pause for a minute there. Because this is a big reason why the suicide rate is so high with men. They lose themselves and reject themselves in order to try to make the people around them happy. And just to be clear, burying our emotions is a form of self rejection. But guys, we can't take responsibility for other people's feelings because we can't control them. And at that time in my life, I had bought into the idea that since my wife wasn't happy, then that meant I just wasn't a good man or I wasn't man enough. Sure, you have influence. Okay, you have influence over the people that are around you, but you do not have control. Okay, your job is to show up at your best and to give all that you have. But you can't do that walking on eggshells or being a shell of a man. I would even say that taking so much responsibility for everything just really gave her more room not to battle the demons that she faced. And when we do that with the people in our lives, whether it be our wives, our kids, other family members, we're not allowing them the space to actually deal with the things that they need to deal with because they can lean on us and wait for us to fix it for them when we can't fix it. So you need to be careful. And more importantly, though, you also need to respect and accept yourself. So, with that being said, I started going deeper into personal development and I started to see my own value, okay, and increase my own self worth. I started to be able to speak my truth instead of just burying how I felt. Okay, I learned how to be more transparent and vulnerable and do it from a powerful place. And I also started to understand that her emotions weren't a reflection of my value. Okay, they were just results from certain mindsets that she was stuck in. But at the same time, I still realized that I didn't deserve to be treated like I was. But I didn't want a divorce. Plus, that wasn't very Christian, right? Christians are not supposed to get divorced. And I didn't want to have to visit my kids. So I kept telling myself I could fix it. I can fix it. I can fix it. I can fix it. I can fix it. And again, I tried many things, bought books, relationship books, whatever I could think of. I would invite her to join me on some of this personal growth. But nothing really seemed to stick. One of the things I did as kind of a final plea, even though I spent 2 years doing this, is when things would happen, when she would get triggered or something and lash out, I would sit down with her on the couch and I would let her know, like, hey, babe, this is really hurting me and it's pushing me away. I don't know how much longer I can take it before I just completely shut down from you. But she couldn't see how a guy like me, right? The guy that's a rock, nothing bothers him, always calm, cool, collected, always understanding, always forgiving, could be hurting like I was. So she didn't really receive the message that I was trying to send her. I wasn't okay. The more I thought about it, I also didn't want my daughters using this relationship as a model to follow when they go and reach that age and reach that point in their life. And one thing that kind of plagued my thoughts was that couples are supposed to help each other grow. Sure, they have challenges, they have arguments, sometimes big arguments, but at the end of the day, they fight for each other and they help each other grow. They expand, they excel. But I couldn't help her. All this growth that I was doing, but I couldn't break through her shell. all this psychology and philosophy that I was understanding. I was helping other people. I was touching other hearts and helping them to see and helping them to change. But I couldn't make her feel safe. So I felt like maybe I'm not the one for her, anyways. Maybe there is somebody that she'll feel more connected with, that she'll feel safe with. So after praying and praying and praying and praying a little bit more, I remember one morning just asking God, do I leave or do I stay? What do I do? What do you want me to do? A few hours later, I was actually washing the dishes. My wife comes up and she says to me, it's like, we're going to get a divorce, right? And at that point, to me, it was like the decision was made. And it might have been that same night that I told her. Okay. And this led to many confrontations because, right, she's hurt. She's confused. She's hurt. She loves me, but she hates me at the same time because she feels like she's in so much pain at this point. And we even spoke to our pastors at the time. And sadly, you know, I'm not the type that's going to sit and throw a bunch of details. That's why you don't hear me talking like in high detail about what was said, right? Or what was done. And that's just not me. So when we were talking to our pastors, I didn't really do that. I just essentially told them that, things are not working and I haven't been happy for a long time. I've been hurting for a long time. But they just assumed that I was stressed out, that I was still grieving my brother that I lost a year before, and that this will all just kind of blow over once I just kind of calm down. And at that point, I knew I was pretty much on an island. But that's like most men, especially in these situations. There's a challenge in the world to really believe that men could be hurting so much in their heart. And if we are, then we probably just need to man up, right? The only thing that men are allowed to be hurt and sad for is like when someone dies. And even then, there's still some kind of time limit before it's like, bro, man up. It's just the expectation. And this is why a lot of men don't talk about their pain. And there were months, right? Many months, just a roller coaster, highly emotional debates with my wife because my mind was made up and I couldn't believe that she ever loved me because I couldn't see how you can love somebody and treat them the way I was treated. But I know also that it wasn't really about me. It was just where she was stuck, how she perceived the world, how she felt she needed to protect herself. But still, my pain was the same. So I was done. My final decision was made, and I repeatedly made that clear. And I had already prepared myself to just be alone for the remainder of my life because I know there wasn't going to be many people that really get me. I'm just different. At least that's what I feel. Plus, I know that I don't really let people get that close to my heart, especially women. But in the midst of all this, the crazy part, the girl that had reached my heart before my wife, that broke it, she pops up. And so I was like, you know what? You know what? I'm going to ask her to tell me the truth about what happened years ago. Why? Because maybe I can figure out why the fuck I am so unlovable. Why is this just not possible for me? I just needed some kind of answer. I was looking for that final nail in the coffin so I can just kind of close these chapters of my life and just accept this is just where it is and what it is. So I connect with her and I bring up the question. But instead of that final nail, she tells me that she loved me from the first time that we met, but she was extremely afraid. And at this point, I'm just like, what? But at this point, we will continue next week. And I'm going to tell you guys how I fell into one of the darkest pits of my life and how I bounced back. Because the story kind of gets just crazier and stuff. And this was really a big part of me having to practice everything that I preach, to really lean in and go deep. So until next time, this is Naphtali reminding you to master yourself, you master your world. Be the revolution that you need today.